The deepest wound, understanding betrayal from those we trust. The greatest pain doesn't come from enemies, but from someone you've embraced, someone to whom you've opened your heart, someone you trusted more than yourself. This pain isn't ordinary. It's quiet yet as deep as an acid slowly corroding your core. It creates a wound that doesn't bleed externally but internally. Inside, it suffocates you. And worst of all, you can't identify traitors by their faces. They wear masks, smiles, concern, interest, but beneath it all, they hide different intentions. The greatest betrayal comes from those closest to you, those who know your weaknesses, your dreams, your deepest secrets. And that's precisely why they can strike hardest. Exactly where it hurts. Perhaps this has happened to you. Perhaps you're sitting right now wondering how you couldn't have seen it coming. But it's not your fault. Betrayal is sophisticated. It doesn't wear warning colors. Instead, it looks like trust. And today we'll examine this deeply, because until you recognize the true pattern of betrayal, someone will stab you in the back again. Betrayal from a stranger hurts, but betrayal from someone close breaks you. Why? Because you were naked open. Because you believe this person would never disappoint you. Because they held your hand when you were falling, and when you trusted them most, they let go. Psychologists call this intimate betrayal. It's as if someone stole not just your trust, but your identity. Because when someone you trust hurts you, you begin to doubt yourself, your decisions, your judgment, your ability to trust anyone. And that's the most dangerous aspect of this betrayal. It's not just the pain that comes. It's the uncertainty. It spreads like poison and gradually takes away your desire to open up to the world. The brain activates similar regions during trust as during addiction. It releases oxytocin, the trust hormone, and when someone betrays you, this very hormone turns against you. You begin to associate closeness with danger and start protecting yourself even where unnecessary. This isn't weakness. It's the reaction of a wounded soul. Betrayal from someone close isn't just about what the other person did. It's about shaking what you believed in. Sometimes this shock equals an earthquake. But to avoid walking away broken, you must recognize the patterns these people follow. And I'll reveal them to you now. There are 4 types of people who will betray you. It might not even be a bad habit. It's their nature. The first is the silent envier. You may have known them for years. Perhaps a colleague, a relative, maybe a friend. They never shout at you, never argue with you, but they're always there, always watching and quietly comparing. When you're doing well, they're quiet. When you're struggling, they suddenly have time, interest, words of comfort. But there's something in their eyes that disturbs you. It's not compassion, it's satisfaction. The silent envier will never tell you, "I envy you." They'll say, "I wish you well," but they'll never compliment you. They'll never ask for details about your successes. Instead, they'll change the subject, minimize you, or ignore you. And when the moment comes when they can undermine you, they'll do it quietly, behind the scenes, through gossip, ambiguous statements, passive sabotage. Psychologists describe this type as a latently envious personality. They have low self-esteem but appear confident, and your success is a painful mirror for them. The second is the false savior. They appear angelic. They come when you're weak. They help listen, give advice. And you think this is a true friend. But they're not. The false savior doesn't help because they want what's best for you. They help because they need your gratitude, need you to be dependent. They want to feel that without them, you're incomplete. And when you start standing on your own feet, when you dare to be strong by yourself, they change, disgust you, start accusing you, saying things like, "After all I've done for you." In reality, they never supported you, they just tied you down. It's a trap, psychological, emotional. It's called a savior complex, and it's more common than you think. These people aren't strong, they're lost in their need to be irreplaceable. So when you show them you can manage without them, they betray you. That's why it's important to recognize them before their help breaks you. The third is the hidden narcissist. At first glance, charming. They know how to listen. They know what you want to hear. They pretend to understand, admire, support you, but only until they have you figured out. Then it begins subtly. Small jabs, comparisons, phrases like, "Yeah, but you know you're doing this wrong?" People will never take you seriously this way. And you think, maybe they're right. Maybe they mean well, but they don't. The hidden narcissist needs to weaken you to feel strong. Their goal isn't to support you. It's control, gained through guilt, uncertainty, and manipulation. And when you're finally broken, they'll say, "You've changed so much." No, you haven't changed. You've just stopped feeding their lies. The fourth is the passive predator. They won't utter a single insult. They won't raise their voice, but every day they hit you with something small. In front of others, they smile. They're nice, calm, tolerant, but behind closed doors, they ignore you. They respond with one word. They question your decisions, substitute love with silence, and respect with tension. You never know what you did wrong, but you feel it. You stop being yourself. You start adapting, and sooner or later, you stop talking, feeling, wishing. The passive predator isn't an open aggressor. They're someone who destroys slowly, but effectively. And when you finally confront them, they raise an eyebrow and say, "I never did anything to you." That's why these people are the most dangerous. They don't destroy you with one blow, but a little more each day. And you don't notice until it's too late. But it's not too late, because now you know them. Betrayal doesn't begin with a knife in the back. It begins with a whisper, a look, a change in tone of voice. It begins unnoticed. Most people think betrayal comes suddenly like a storm, but the truth is different. It comes slowly and quietly. How do you recognize it? First, interest disappears. Suddenly they don't ask how you are. They're not interested in your successes. They trivialize your troubles. And if they talk to you, it's only about themselves. Second, energy changes. You feel something isn't right. Conversations are shorter, eye contact less frequent, yet you tell yourself, "It's just me." Third, sarcasm instead of support. Every compliment has a subtext. "Yeah, you're always lucky. I'd like to not have to deal with anything too." These aren't jokes, they're hidden attacks, wrapped in humor, so they can't be criticized. Fourth, curiosity becomes control. They ask about things that aren't their business. Who called you? Where are you going? Why do you go there so often? And when you don't answer, they get offended. Fifth, your inner intuition screams, but logic silences it, and that's the biggest problem. Psychologists call it confirmation bias. You want to believe everything is fine, so you ignore everything that says otherwise. But intuition knows, and the longer you ignore it, the greater the shock when the betrayal is fulfilled. That's why it's important to learn to trust your inner voice again, even when it tells you something you don't want to hear. Each of us has it, a quiet voice, a sixth sense, a premonition. We call it intuition, but why do we so often ignore it? Because we've learned to. We were taught to be polite, not suspicious, to give others a chance, and above all, not to make assumptions. But intuition isn't an assumption. It's the brain and nervous system detecting micro details we don't consciously register. A breath, a tone, a microgesture, a feeling of tension. The body knows all this long before the mind understands. But society taught us not to believe it. You're just imagining things. Be more positive, don't judge. And so we fell silent. And our intuition, that inner guardian, retreated into silence, but the good news is that it can be reawakened. How? Slow down. Intuition doesn't speak in a hurry, it needs calm. Pay attention to your body. Tension in the chest, a knot in the stomach, trembling hands. The body knows before the head does. Focus on patterns. Does an unpleasant feeling repeat with someone? Don't ignore it. Take notes about when you listened to someone against your inner feeling and regretted it. Be in harmony with yourself. Intuition strengthens where there is calm, authenticity, and truth. And finally, trust yourself, because betrayal comes from those you trust more than yourself. But once you start trusting yourself, no one will be able to manipulate you. The world needs more people who have been betrayed, yet maintain their honor.